It looks like you guys are fundamentally lost. What's going on?
It's probably just me individually. Like, I'm not as playing as well. I'm not as quick with the decisions, and I think as a result, a lot of my teammates are suffering and our team play suffering.
I'm joined by Zeyzal after an unfortunate 2-0 defeat to Cloud9. Zeyzal, the word I've been hearing since week 4 of spring is fundamentals. Fundamentals. Every week I feel like I hear it. Every week we hear Revan in like the little coach interviews. When I talked with Revan, when I talked with Fake God multiple times, it's all about the fundamentals. It looks like you guys are fundamentally lost. What's going on?
Yeah. I feel like part of it is like fundamentals only matter. So it's like there's obviously like two versions of fundamentals, like individually as a player, like how your lane phase goes, things like that. And then there's like the fundamentals as a team. And I think on stage we're really struggling with as players. We've had like half of our games we just get like 5k gold deficit at like 15, right? Immortals game 1, I think, or game 2. TL game 1, C9 game 1. These games are all like we just lost in lane phase and early game. And then the second part of that is like in scrims, obviously we just don't have that happen. So it's really hard for us. It's just we're struggling to figure out why it is, and then we go back for game 2, right? And I messed up my lane phase pretty bad and died twice for no reason. But unrelated to that, the game was playable when we went to like 10 minutes in. It's like 500 gold apart. Even though they had a good level 1 strat, Tomio caught up on the Maokai, was even in farm to Karthus. And that game, that's where the fundamentals that we're talking about come in, which is like we took Hextech Dragon, after we already killed Corki bottom. And then at that moment, we're like close in gold. And then on the back end of that, they know everything. They know we're all basing, we're all low. And they just push bottom, TP top, and we're down 2k gold in like literally 1 minute.
You say these things don't really happen in scrims. I think you mentioned that you guys were winning scrims versus C9, at least during the Korean boot camp. I heard that it was more than just winning. It was pretty like one-sided. I think Mabry just said that yesterday you guys went 3-3 against Dignitas. So it does seem like scrims, these kind of things aren't happening. So I guess how do you go about as a coaching staff, as like players, saying, hey, we're not doing anything? Or that's another thing that I felt a lot, where it's you guys are always late to the play, or you're not sure of what's going on. Is it some sort of leadership that like you guys don't know what to do at what times? Like, well, yeah, could you run me through that?
Yeah, I do feel like that's a lot of what I'm failing at this split, is like I'm not as good of a leader as I was last split, and I'm not really sure why, honestly. I feel like last split, we at least made plans and committed to them hard as a team. And I feel like something has shifted. Either it's probably just me individually. Like, I'm not as playing as well. I'm not as quick with the decisions. And I think as a result, a lot of my teammates are suffering and our team play suffering.
I mean, the first finger that or the first thing I look at is, oh, you guys used to have Bugi, who was a much more seasoned veteran. You know, he's played in like a bunch of different regions. He's won 3 of them. Maybe you're missing out on some like comms from Bugi that added leadership. I don't know. I haven't like spoken to Tomio, so I don't know how he plays the game.
Tomio communicates a lot and well, but yeah, I would say there is a difference between them, which is like, with Tomio, I would say a lot less of his calls are actually like objectively the right call. And sometimes they're not even like good at all. So some work is put on the rest of the team to like filter these out and like help him be the best player, which in the case with Bugi is I think his calls were similar, but he made much. I mean, he's actually quite smart as a player. So it was like, it's kind of the opposite. I feel like he made a lot of calls and they were usually right. And it was rare that you had to be like, whoa, Bugi, that's not right. but I feel like we're in a phase where we filter out a lot of calls, and I think that's the nature of going with a younger player. It's not his fault. That's really normal. When I started in playing with Blabber in 2018, it was similar. So it's just the nature of playing with a younger jungler, especially, or a younger player who's aggressive in nature.
Okay, I remember multiple instances where Bugi would like know where a ward is and just perfectly go around that vision. So when you were saying he's smart, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, oh yeah, he used to do all these like little things that might go unnoticed. I have another question. This is something that irks me. I don't think it's something the community is talking about very much, but warmog supports when you're like behind just seem really useless, especially like I think last game you didn't even get to it. It was 24 minutes in. I mean, you're playing against Karthus twice and you don't go lock it. You don't go like the 22 to 2300 gold items and go for like the 3100 gold item that you just never end up reaching. So maybe you can alleviate some of my concern. Like why don't you go for these cheaper like Knight's Vow, Locket, even Redemption if you really want to?
Yeah, so, and I guess when you're behind, you could justify doing that. But the problem is, Warmogs as an item is basically like, imagine if steel caps or ninja tabby and mobility boots were in one. This is just beyond broken, right? So what I'm saying is this item makes you a tank and gives you 15% move speed. It's basically giving you Moby boots and a tank item. And I guess you could argue like, why weren't you building Deadmans the whole time then? But then the element that makes it broken is right now it's really hard to kill people like the whole team in one go. So what makes it really strong for the winning side is like if they finish their Warmogs first and we're playing like Nautilus versus whatever, Nautilus versus Alistar. I hook the Alistar, he has Warmogs first. I have to kill him or he's going to heal full, right? And if I don't have Warmogs, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take that damage and have to base, and he never has to base.
Okay, that's fair. The move speed is something I didn't really consider. It's just it feels like it'd be so much more useful to have like a Knight's Vow on your Kaisa or Varus, and make sure that you do actually get the kill, even if they have that Warmox because he's surviving longer and you're healing and whatnot. But especially, it's just so expensive. But yeah, anyways, I put that aside. It's just my personal gripe. Um, my next question is sort of what you guys are working towards, which is the question that I mean, it's the $1 million question. You have a 3-week break or like 22 days or whatever. How do you go from we're not making these mistakes in scrims, we're actually engaging, we have better calls, to making that happen on stage? Because like you said, last split, at least there was some sort of, some form of that, which led you guys to winning 5 games. This split, we don't really see that.
I think that the main thing is I would say that we do have the engage problems and like we should be set up here problems in scrims. We just don't have I mean, honestly, there are teams that will just blow us out early game and some of the times that happens, but we're actually doing it back in scrims, right? So the problem is that happens in stage and we're not doing it back to them. That's one issue. But the engage, setup, controlling objectives, playing slow games, we are having problems with that in scrims, and that's something we're really working on. I'd say a lot of that is attributed to me. I don't think I'm leading as well as I did last split, and especially not as well as I was doing on C9C or DSG, and I'm not really sure why that is. I'm like doing everything I can to figure out and try to make sure I can replicate like the success I had in the past as a teammate and a leader.
Well, I hope you guys do figure it out. I hope, for my own selfish purposes, and obviously for you guys, I'm a big fan of you guys, as you know. And yeah, I just want to say that the episode of like the Rebels log where you were talking about expectations going to Team Liquid game and your thoughts, it was very very much appreciated to the fans. Just getting to see where your mindset is at and maybe pinpoint a few like points of concern where it's like, yeah, that game was 24 minutes, nothing really happened. but getting your perspective on it was very useful. So, just I know it can be difficult when you're losing, but keep doing that. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I hope I didn't go too hard, but I appreciate your perspective.
I really appreciate honestly, I'd say they're fair questions, and thank you for, still supporting us, even though it's not the easiest to be a Shopify Rebellion fan right now.
No, you guys got you when you make it to Worlds, it'll all be worth it.
I hope so.
All right, man. Take care.
You as well.
Bye.
Thank you.
I was really considering not doing an outro, but I will do an outro just because I actually enjoy it and kind of me getting stuff off my chest. Yeah, I wish I had like another hour with any like Zeyzal or anyone from Shopify just to ask all these questions. Not necessarily because I'm gonna help them make like be better or anything like that. That's not what I'm thinking. It's more of like I just want my answers and something to like help me sleep at night because it's hard out here. You see, we got the Shopify merch that they sent me, which thank you to them. I'm still a fan. It's a bit disappointing, and I'm just hoping that they can figure stuff out over the break. During the break, I don't know what I'll be doing. I have a bunch of more interviews coming out. I have like 3 more coming out, and then I might be doing specific like longer form interviews. There's like a might have like a docu kind of thing that I'm working on. I have a lot of stuff I'm working on, but I will be streaming more often. So come hang out and just give me your ideas, any feedback. I really, really appreciate it. And if you've noticed, like from Spring Split to now, my content has gotten better. That is, due to me constantly asking for feedback and people giving me feedback and helping me and all that stuff. All that stuff like counts and matters. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Team Liquid does and FlyQuest at the EWC. And I will see you guys in the next interview. I have, like I said, 3 more.